Hey preschool peeps, welcome to our pre-4th of July episode entitled, It's an Unusual 4th of July. What are we doing with that with the kids?
Yeah, isn't that
Well,
fun?
that's not really the title, but that's how we feel.
You know.
So we announced, right? We announced on our last episode that we're going back to our regular schedule of these podcast releases. We're going to be releasing an episode every Monday morning at 8 a.m., which is what we did before COVID. And then COVID took over and there was a crisis and we started to release more often and people started to say to us, oh, loving your podcast, loving the support. And we were like, when do we ever end doing that then? And we decided this is it. 4th of July is the breaking point. And we're going to go back to our regular schedule for now anyway, until news hits again.
Yeah, and there might be a sprinkle of other episodes every once in a while as we see fit, right? And then we'll reevaluate when summer's over what we want to do. So
yes, and as we march toward next flu season, maybe. So
you call it flu season, I call it COVID season.
Okay, whatever. But for now, we are going to use 4th of July as our breaking point back to our normal schedule of podcast releases. And when we said that to each other, we were like, and what a weird 4th of July is. So
it is weird, right?
Right. So we wanted on this episode to talk about the importance of this 4th of July, not so much from a patriotic standpoint, but from a parenting standpoint.
Yeah, family standpoint.
Yeah. You know, we were saying our state is planning some sort of return to school in September. They're still ironing it out on the local level, ironing out whether it's going to be a hybrid or what's going to happen. But definitely things are reopening in our area and people are starting to head back to work and eventually kids will go back to school. And I really think that this 4th of July, I know you all have spent a lot of time as a family. I get that. But this 4th of July, I feel like it should be about family, just sort of like marking that time, right? That we spent so much time together and things are going to be reopening and it's going to be changing now. And we're going to be going back a little bit into society, hopefully in safe ways. And so our lives are going to change again. And maybe we take that day and value that day together. And use it kind of like Alice and I are using it as a breaking point to go back to our regular schedule. Maybe families do something like that. Like I know your life isn't going to be what it was pre-COVID. Like I know that, but it is going to, I think through this summer, we're going to see consistent change slowly but surely to the new normal.
Yeah.
And so this is maybe the family day that marks that.
Yeah. And like maybe as a family, you can figure out what your new normal summer routine will be. Does that make sense? I don't want to say you like your summer routine because your summer routine is usually not like this. But like,
but you still need a routine, right? You all still need
some sort of routine. So figure out what your new, I can't even say post-COVID, but your COVID.
It's not post-COVID.
It's definitely not post. I can't say that, but it's not pre either. So like what
during
your what's the word for that besides during? Is there because there's pre and there's post and there's
in the middle of I forget what it is in Latin. In the middle of.
Okay. So whatever that routine's going to be, because things, at least in our area, are opening up. Mm-hmm. So maybe you're going to figure out like maybe once a week you as a family are going to venture out and do something different and cool or maybe not. Maybe you're going to have a movie day, like, or something. You know, you're going to figure out what your routines are going to be and make the 4th of July be the start of it, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I wonder this, you know, when I would talk to families before this health crisis, and I would say to families, how much time do you all spend playing in your backyard? It was very little time because kids were running to lessons, right? Kids were running to dance lessons and sports lessons and all sorts of lessons. They were like running, they would get out of school and be running to this and running to that and running to this. And there was just a lot of adult-led activities even after a school day. So I wonder if this crisis can help us to bring backyard play back.
That would be cool.
Right? And that could be part of your routine. Like, these are the days of the week in the summer that we're going to play in our yard.
Yeah.
This day, once a week, we are going to take a ride somewhere.
Right.
This day, once a week, we're going to take out food or outdoor dining or outdoor dining, whichever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you sort of, Allison's right. You use this to set up. Now we're going to set up our family routine for summer, which may look very different in the past, but it doesn't have to be terrible.
Right. I don't think it's going to be terrible. I think it actually might be kind of nice in some ways, because you're not going to be rushing around to go to like piano lessons and soccer and sports camps. You're not, you know, it's almost like the schedule has released, you know, and now you can kind of just enjoy each other's company.
Aren't some sports happening? I think where we are, some sports are happening.
Some
non-contact.
Right. But I think it's also limited. Like, you could do sports, like practices, but you can't do games. You know, you can't do matches. You can't do that, I think. But like, yeah.
And for some kids, day camps are starting. Some places have day camps starting.
Yeah. Some are having that. Yeah.
And so if your children are going to be going to a day camp, once again, this whole time being together is now changing, and we're going to go back to regularly scheduled programming a little bit, like Allison and I are.
Yeah.
And I hope that you'll take that day. And yes, it's about patriotism and the independence of our country and all of that. It is, and make sure your children know that, and spend the day in a really valuable way, because
like
this year I think we've all faced some truths about time and vulnerability
and appreciating togetherness, because we got it taken away from us. So I mean, if your child is starting day camps, right, they were without children in a group setting for months. So that's like a big, in a way, right, to go back to that. But it might be a little like a transition period. So, I mean, I think the 4th of July is a good time to maybe discuss that. Like, hey, we're going to start day camp. We haven't been with our friends for a while. You know, what do you think that'll look like? What are you feeling about it? You know, that kind of thing too. Like sit down and talk with them about things as things are opening up.
And I certainly hope that if you decide to go where there are going to be people, to beaches, to amusement parks if they're open, to that sort of thing, that you take every precaution that you need to take.
Yes, please.
Please, folks, wear those masks, because all the facts are showing the difference that it makes.
Oh God, yeah. Bring
Tremendous
your hand sanitizer.
Difference. Bring your hand sanitizer, wear your mask, wash your hands, do all the things that we know help to keep us safe. And it's not about, and one of the, I think, great lessons that can come from this for young children as you do venture out this summer, is that the act of wearing a mask and following these guidelines is really a selfless act. I'm doing that for other people.
I'm doing it for you.
Right?
I'm doing it to protect you.
I'm doing it because I respect other people.
Yeah.
There's a great lesson to be learned in that.
Yeah. And if you are modeling wearing the mask in public, right, which is great for your child to see, then when they do go to school after summer's over, they'll be like, oh, I wear a mask, my mom and dad wear a mask, because we are protecting other people. You know, like, they'll know it, they'll see it, they'll be modeling you.
I've seen lots of kids in masks now. When I go to the store now, and when the kids are walking around wearing their masks, sometimes I see the kids are walking around with their masks on, the adults took them off, and I'm like,
nah,
I don't get it. What are you doing? What are you doing? Your kid is wearing it when they're supposed to be. I think there's just great lessons about generosity of spirit.
Yeah.
Right? I do this for other people. We do it for our society. We do it for the people of our town and our country and our state. This is why we do it. And 4th of July, it's going to be different. It's going to be very different.
It is going to be different.
Usually we go somewhere with a whole bunch of people to see fireworks.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen this year.
Not going to happen this year, but
but there's still going to be fireworks. Allison and I were talking about that in some places.
They're getting creative.
They are. They're getting creative. Yeah. They're getting creative in New York. I was listening to the mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, talking about how they're going to do in all the 5 boroughs. They're going to do a 5-minute firework display.
Yeah.
In all the 5 boroughs through the week leading up to 4th of July, which is kind of cool.
I think that's really cool. So like you're going to get like this surprise fireworks display on like a random day leading up to, I mean, what a cool way. It'd be like a countdown to 4th of July in a way, like, I think that's cool. I think that was a really creative way to display the fireworks, in a way that people are safe, so they're not gathering in one spot to watch them. I think it's awesome.
I hope that lots of places are creative. I hope lots of places do that. And I do hope that we spend time with our children talking about, those of us who are in the United States. I know we have people listening from other places, but those of us who are in the United States, I hope that you do spend time talking about the gift of our freedom here. Yeah. I know that there have been a lot of restrictions over the past months, and we haven't felt, it's been so weird to feel so many restrictions as an American citizen. It's been weird, I feel like, as an American or in America, even if you're not a citizen in the United States, it's very strange to have all of these restrictions. And still, we have so many wonderful rights and freedoms in this country that we can, wherever you want, that you can even criticize that. I go on Twitter and I see people criticizing all these regulations and restrictions regularly. The fact that you have a right to do that without being arrested is a reason to celebrate 4th of July.
4th of July, yes, that is true.
Yes. The fact that Allison and I can sit on this podcast and bemoan some of the things that are going to have to take place in schools without being arrested is a reason to celebrate 4th of July.
It's a reason to celebrate, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because wherever you are, it's, it's still, we have to get the positive from it. And just the fact that I can say I don't like the way this is going is a gift.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or you're able to protest things when you don't agree with them. That's your freedom as Americans, to speak up and speak your mind and have an opinion.
Yep. There's nothing more American than a protest, folks. If it wasn't for protest, my son aptly pointed this out on social media to someone. If it wasn't for protesting, I wouldn't have the right to vote.
It's true.
Right? If it wasn't for protesting, the LGBTQ community wouldn't have rights.
True. That's very 100% true. A lot of really awesome, great, wonderful things that we have now happened because people protested.
Yeah. And just even this year where it's been so sad with what's gone on with racism. And it's, oh my God, it needs to change.
It needs to change.
The fact that people have the right to protest is a reason to celebrate 4th of July. The fact that people are looking at that saying, I have things to learn about race and racism and what people are going through, and we need to make it better. The fact that we can look at each other and say we need to make it better is a reason to celebrate this holiday. So I hope that you all do celebrate it in some way. Bring back backyard play. Set up a summer schedule for your kids and talk with them about what that's going to be like, and treasure this day together, even though I know it has felt like an endless amount of time in 4 walls together. Treasure it, because we're going to be shifting again for a while anyway.
For a while. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Allison and I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July, whatever it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And we will be back on Monday. Mm-hmm. And then every Monday after that.
Yes.
And occasionally other times, but not often.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unscheduled. Yeah.
Yes. So we will catch you next time on the podcast, folks. Please continue to listen, share, subscribe, rate us, give us a good rating. We've tried so hard through this whole thing.
Oh
my gosh. This has been heavy lifting. So we have tried so hard, and we appreciate the feedback that we get from people about how much this podcast has meant to them over these past months of the health crisis. And we hope that it continues to mean that much to you as we forge forward.
To the new normal, hopefully.
Yes, here we go. We're marching.
Cindy, our 100th episode is coming up. Right? So we forgot to mention this in the last episode. So we're asking people to send us their questions that they want answered on our 100th episode. It's like an ask us anything kind of thing. It could be about education. It could be about children. It could be about parenting. It could be about me or you or Cindy or my dog or her birds or anything. We want to make it fun. So send in those questions.
Yeah. And Allison, who is our record keeper like that, will hang on to those questions.
I will hang on to all the questions.
Yes. Those people who've been listening for a while know Allison is the record keeper.
I'm like the paperwork person.
And I'm like the tech person. Yeah. So, all right. So we do hope you'll send those in, and we hope you have a wonderful July 4th for everyone who celebrates. And even if you don't, have a lovely weekend.
Yes.
And we will catch you next week.